Hello teacher, hello guys. How are you doing? My group is formed by Lorena, Garnica and me, Vanessa Angamarca. As you can see, today we are going to talk about flipped learning. So, what we have to know about flipped learning and how the use of ICTs is essential in this process? Well, with nothing more to say, let's start the presentation.
Okay, first of all, let me provide a brief general information about this approach. To start, let's mention Jonathan Berman and Aaron Sams. These men are two high school teachers who developed this pedagogical approach classroom in 2007 in the United States. Okay, but what's flipped learning about? Well, this is a pedagogical approach in which direct instruction is moved from the group learning space to the individual learning space. It's all done in a dynamic, interactive learning environment where a teacher guides students to apply concepts and think creatively. So, what makes flipped learning really successful? Well, the first thing to understand is that classroom learning environments are highly structured, which means that educators have to plan every minute so that students will be engaged during the lesson and will be motivated. Okay, secondly, the in-class activities need to be designed so that students solve problems, answer questions, and apply or retrieve the content that they learned earlier in a flip video. And finally, students are heavily encouraged through grading, class activities, and teacher expectations to complete outside activities or attend a class. But why apply this pedagogical approach? There are many who believe that students don't learn much if they just sit in a class listening to teachers, memorizing and spitting out the answers. They should talk about what they are learning, write about their daily lives, and this approach can help them with this. Now, let's talk about fundamental pillars of FLIP. One pillar is a flexible learning environment in which teachers are able to accommodate students' learning styles. Another trend is the shift in teaching culture in which the teacher's role changes from a source of information to a guide. The intentional content speaks directly to teachers about evaluating, focusing, and providing the key learning content that students need. And the final fundamental pillar corresponds to professional educators who are challenged and required to create meaningful critical thinking activities to deepen students' understanding. Now, let's talk about some of the benefits involved in this pedagogical approach. First of all, it's possible for students to have increased input and control over their own learning. And also, this approach allows class time to be used to master skills through collaborative projects and discussions. And what about the challenges? Well, some of them involve teachers' considerable workload of creating flipped learning materials and students' disengagement in the out-of-class learning. However, despite these issues, this approach can still be effective to improve student achievement and involve them in their own education. Well, having clarified a bit about this pedagogical approach, let's talk about the role of a teacher. Well, the role of the teacher in this model is to guide and accompany the student, also observing the learning process of each student and carrying out a continuous evaluation, and also supporting in the student's learning process.
Now I'm gonna talk about the role of the students outside the classroom. Remember that in this type of learning, the students have to work at home. So the students have to evaluate the material provided by the teacher as many times they may need, individually, obviously, and the students also have to do the activities proposed on the platforms. Now, what is the role of the students in the classroom? Students in the classroom can try different activities such as debates, oral presentations, and so, but it's very important that the teacher is there in order to give immediate feedback on all the activities. Finally, if necessary, the teacher together with the students can review the material again. Now let's talk about ICT's role. Well, they benefit and motivate the students through collaborative learning and effective communication among students and between students and teachers. They promote autonomous work. In addition, they provide resources to the students in advance for review. In this way, the teacher becomes a facilitator. Now let's talk about the activities that the teacher can use. Collaborative active learning refers to working in groups where they work together to apply and make use of the information they have acquired individually. This could mean problem solving activities, experiments, and many more. At the same time, students are developing their communicative and team working skills. Another activity that the students can do in the classroom is to work in pairs, because in this way they combine collaborating and independent learning. First, the students have to think about what they have learned individually, then they will have to work in pairs and discuss their ideas and thoughts. Finally, they will have to share their ideas with the whole class. I'm going to talk about some apps that the teacher can use. First, we have this app called Book Widgets, which allows teachers to make their lessons more interactive. It also provides templates with interactive exercises. The teacher just has to add his own content. The teacher can choose from 40 exercises to engage students. Another great app is Brainput, which creates animated resources that support teachers and engages students at home from their devices. This is very important since the students are not supervised at home. The app content includes movies, games, and things like that. The content covers a lot of things, including English. Now let's talk about the results. First, as we know in the traditional method, only the brightest students raise their hands and want to participate. But in flipped learning, all the students become active and participative, learning not only from the teacher but also from their peers. Everyone has the same opportunity to participate and share their ideas without feeling behind the rest. Another reason is that the classroom management changes. It has been demonstrated that under a traditionalist model, students pay less attention in the classroom. On the contrary, in the flipped learning classroom, all these problems disappear. Students are more attentive, being more participative, doing their activities in group, attending to their learning and tasks.